If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. If you think you will lose, you are lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think for outlast, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life struggles don't always go to the stronger or faster men. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. ख्वाहिशों से नहीं फूल गिरते झोली में, कर्म की साख को हिलाना होगा. कुछ नहीं होगा कोसने से किस्मत को, अपने हिस्से का दिया खुद ही जलाना होगा. और अंत में आपको एक ही बात बोलना चाहता हूं, मैं तो अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर, मैं तो अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर, लोग आते गए और कारवां बनता गया.
On a mission to create 1 million public speakers by 2020.
Are you ready for that?
So hello viewers, today the guest who have joined us has a mission in his life, which is to create 1 million plus public speakers across the globe. And he is a global keynote speaker, renowned and phenomenal public speaker, provided a stage to 60,000 plus professional public speakers across the globe, Mr. Arthur Sherry. And you must have seen him on Joe's Talk because he has such an amazing and incredible journey, right? So welcome, Supreet Sir, on our podcast, to taking out your precious time.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you for having me here.
And sir, you are an international bestseller author, and actually, I guess you are writing your new book, which is the TEDx Factor, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's already been written. It's under the publishing process. We are going to launch this book on 7th of September.
Right. So we will delve into that as well. So first of all, sir, I would like to know your journey as a public speaker. Right? Like, how did you start, and how did this idea cross your mind? Even that awful situation you had no money to actually initiate the process of that kind of profession. So how did this start the journey?
Well, this all started with my own stage failure back in my corporate job. So I was supposed to speak in front of 300 people. I was supposed to get some recognition from one of the functional heads in an event. And that's where it all started losing from there. And in that event, I could not speak in front of those 300 people. And that began as a journey for me. And I took a note that day that this day will never come in my life again, because I'm going to learn the art of public speaking. I'm going to learn how public speakers share the message and engage people. Because till the time I was on the stage, I was thinking I just have to speak. But when I went to the stage, it was much beyond what I was supposed to do. I sensed that, and I realized that this is something which I really need to work upon. And at that moment, I also realized that nobody's talking about this skill in schools and colleges. Luckily, fortunately, since the time I have been promoting public speaking skills for the last 1 decade now some of the institutions have started talking about public speaking skills, taken it seriously. But at that moment in my life, I was thinking, why somebody's not talking about these skills? Let the students learn these skills, because these are most important skills to have in corporate job, whether you are in business, whether you are doing your own startup. Because in every sphere of life, whether you are in job or business, you need to learn the art of public speaking, learn the art of engaging people, art of presentation.
Hmm. And sir, you are a 13-time international TEDx speaker, and I guess you have shared how to go and actually how to deliver a particular speech in just 18 minutes, and you have elaborated these points in your upcoming book. So please tell us something about that. How did this idea cross to your mind, and how did you get this opportunity to share the stage upon in front of thousands of people on TEDx, and actually how it happened? Right.
Yeah, so cracking first TEDx was difficult for me because I kept on applying on many different TEDx events, and every time I applied, I got my application rejected. So I followed visualization process. I used to visualize my success on the stage, standing on the red carpet, focusing on people, using my body language, and
Right.
conveying my messages to people. People standing for me, applauding for me, giving me standing ovation, and that's where I understood that visualization can really help, and it did work, Ronak. I got my first TEDx talk. It's a funny story. I got a call from one of the TEDx organizers because they saw one of my book got released recently, and They called me for an interview in Connaught Place, New Delhi, in a cafe. I went there. They took my interview, and profile, we like your personality, but we still have some apprehension because we are not sure whether we can take an author as a speaker or not. So we'll get back to you. So I kept my patience. 3 weeks I waited, and then I suddenly got a call one fine day that we have shortlisted you as a speaker, and we are sending you an email for the confirmation of a speaker. I was on cloud nine, and
Right.
I felt those moments that when I used to visualize about my success on TEDx stage, and that's how this dream came true. But after that, I didn't counted my TEDx talk like you were counting 12 times or 13 times. It's just the way every time I have spoken on TEDx, I always knew that I'm going to share some new idea because
Mm,
this is a platform of ideas worth spreading. So
mm,
if you have an idea which is worth spreading, which is new, which has some kind of fresh perspective, we should reach out to people. So we should definitely go on TEDx and share that idea at large with the community, with the people around the world. And TEDx is one of the largest
mm.
subscriber base on YouTube. It has more than 41 million subscribers on YouTube
Right.
channel, and it's growing in leaps and bounds every day. So you have great chance to share your idea and you say you are a public speaker, you're a TEDx speaker. It really helps you to showcase your own personal brand as well.
Mm, right, right, sir. And actually, actually the first step is usually very hard to take, and afterwards the second step, third step becomes easier. And sir, moving towards our next question, that what advice you would give to your younger self when you were starting? I mean, when you were starting this journey as a public speaker, and why? I'd love to know, sir.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to share that, as you said, younger speaker, see, the fear is a part of the process.
Mm,
A little bit of fear will surely exist. You cannot eliminate that immediately. The initial fear will happen.
right,
So feel the fear and do it anyway. And just go with the process, go with the passion, go with the zeal, which is helping you to share your message with the world. If you have a compelling story, if you have passion to talk to people, if you feel good to be in the spotlight,
mm,
if you feel comfortable talking to different kind of people and sharing your life stories, you are showing indication that you can become a public speaker. And besides that, when you go on the stage, initially you will have hiccups. You
right,
will stumble in many places. You will fumble a lot. But gradually, over a period of time, when you will understand that this entire field is more about how you serve people with a lot of solutions with the way you talk, and
right,
that's when you start grabbing more knowledge about your subject, about your niche, about the expertise you have, and then you start picking up that field in
mm,
which you have that expertise, and then gradually you will grow. So it's not about the sprint; it's about the marathon. It's a long shot.
right,
Nothing comes in a shorter version, and there's no shortcut to it. Also, Ronak, just like any other career for any youth, it will start from fear. It will have its own roadblocks. It will have its own rock bottoms. But at the end of the day, if you stay persistent, you will have perseverance, you will have passion, you will have confidence, you will definitely make it through and you will strive.
right. And sir, it is actually a very practical thing, which is we have to start and we have to practice, then actually we can do this, sir. In your speeches I have seen you emphasize the importance of vulnerability. So my question is, Supreet sir, how can a leader integrate vulnerability into their communication and actually without compromising their authority? So what are your insights in regard of this?
See, vulnerability means when you are talking in front of anyone with the way you think about certain things. So, for example, if you feel that religion is not good,
Mm,
if you have the courage to say, I do not follow religion,
mm,
I'm spiritual. So, you are vulnerable to accept that you are not religious, you are spiritual.
right,
This is what vulnerability means. So, you feel about a certain thing and you are ready to talk about it in a certain way to the world. That is what vulnerability is. As a leader, if you are serving organizations, if you are speaking in front of a lot of people, vulnerability is the most important tool as well as quality you should possess as a leader. Because then it will help others to understand what you think about certain situation,
mm,
environment, and you grow
mm,
with the different challenges you face in your leadership career, in your journey of corporate world. And of
right,
course, at the same time, when you become vulnerable, your team start loving those things about you, and your team start engaging with you. And if the team works, the dream works. So at large, it's the team which carries a lot of power. and is responsible for your single success as a leader.
Supreet sir, to be honest, actually you have shared a very practical insight that vulnerability means to to replace religion into actually spirituality. Sir, you have been invited in 1,000 plus formal keynotes across the globe, and you have taught 100 plus corporate. How do you handle spiritual conflicts in front of major speech, like how do you handle public sentiments, like as you have mentioned that religion is something which if you will talk about, then there is a something misconceived people will get. So how do you handle public sentiments, that how to care their religion, or actually how to talk about spiritual kind of stuff in front of major
Yeah, so
public?
that's a good question. First and foremost, avoid talking about anything religious or political from the stage. Even if you have any topic which is covering at large about what you're going to talk, I usually avoid talking anything related to it, pertaining to it, about religion or politics. I just keep it to the topic and I give my true sense to what topic or what subject I'm going to speak upon.
Mm,
Candidly, if you see, audience sense will come to you when you will start engaging more and more with people, when you will understand human behavior more, when you will start interacting with different kind of people, start from a kid to a teenager to
mm,
an adult, then to a veteran. If you will cover all walks of life of different people, different cycles and phases of people, you will start understanding what a 30-year guy or a 40-year-old guy or a
right.
20-year-old guy effectively thinks, what is there in his or her mind. And then you have great sense of how you can improvise, influence, and inspire the audience.
Right, sir. And actually, it is very practical thing. And one thing I would like to know, which is very practical, that how to mentally prepare actually before giving a speech to thousands of crowd, and actually how to confront stage fear. Right.
See, mental preparation, as I said, it's a long shot. It will come gradually to you.
Practice. Right.
Yeah, practice always makes you better. Now, if you are going for a crowd which has more people and you are there to deliver a talk over there, now you should definitely have the strong mindset that
Right.
mental zeal, mental strength has to exist. But your question is how you can prepare it. So, number one is you should do things, especially from the stage as a speaker, which
Right.
takes courage. So, as you mentioned, vulnerability, that's what vulnerability means. You accept the way things are happening around you and you're ready to share the messages in the most vulnerable way. I remember one of my TEDx talk, I took a thermocol model of a skeleton, and my plan was that I have to break that on the stage. So I did a lot of practice before I did that in front of 100 people over there, and
Right.
eventually it came out in a live YouTube video, and people liked that a lot. So at the end of the day, it takes courage. Of course, it takes a lot of practice. And thirdly, you should be on top of your subject.
Subject.
So if you collaborate all these three things, then you will see that your message will come out strong. People will like it. They will appreciate, and you will have greater influence on the people, and it will have long-lasting impact. And the retention of the message also is going to be there for a longer period of time.
And sir, I have seen your video on Joe Stock, and actually you were sharing your very, I mean, unusual story, and which is actually real, that आपके घर में आपको धमकी दी गई थी कि if you will not return the money you have borrowed, you will be killed, right? So please, sir, please tell us that story. Actually, a lot of people resonated with you on that, right?
Yeah, so one fine day when I came from the school, I was sitting at my home. My mom was cooking the meals at the kitchen, and the bell knocked, and I went to the door and I opened the door. I
Okay.
saw two people of 6 feet. They were standing outside, and they asked me a question, "Papa, kahan hai aapke?" And I was absolutely numb that time. What to respond? And I
Mm,
started sweating and feeling nervous. In fact, I had my heart pounding that time. And one of that person, he took his right hand, it was pretty heavy, on my shoulder, and he said, "अपने पापा को बोल देना, अगर आज शाम तक हमारे पैसे नहीं ले पाए ना, गोली मार देंगे उनको." And that was a moment I didn't had any clue what to say. And both these people left. My mom was in the kitchen, and my mom called me, and I closed the door and I started crying. and my mom wiped off my tears, and I told everything what just happened. And that was a moment which has really shifted my thought process that what is happening in my home. And from there, things got worse actually, because next 3 years I was shelterless,
Right.
and I was staying with my relative's house. And this is a typical story for every youth of our country to listen, understand, and see how somebody who didn't had a single penny in the pocket, not even 10 rupee, does his education on his own,
Mm,
and then starts working at the age of 13, doing small labor jobs,
right.
and then worked really, really hard, walking and roaming around in different DTC buses in the capital and hodgepodge of the crowd here, and
Right.
making his career out of it.
Mm,
More importantly, living his passion out of it.
right.
That's what my story is. I
Mm,
always say that I'm not an expert public speaking student. I always say that I'm an expert. I always say I'm not an expert public speaking coach, but I'm an expert public speaking student. And
mm,
that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Because as a student, when you live your life, you learn and you keep on learning. So there's a beautiful concept called Kaizen, and it means constant learning. That has been the mantra of my life. I still learn. I do reverse mentorship. I learn from people who are lesser to my age. I learn from people who are ahead of my age, and I really try to figure out where I can add value to my own self. So personal growth is important, and the second most important part is when you are in your life, you have done your formal education.
right.
What about your personal education, self
Mm,
education? So self education is extremely important. Formal education will make you a living,
mm,
but self education will make you a fortune. तो
right.
पढ़े लिखे होने से कुछ नहीं होता, पढ़ते लिखते रहना चाहिए. And that's the message I want to give to your viewers as well. Keep learning, keep striving hard, and keep focusing on your goals and
Right.
work on your personal development, and you will see that you will definitely achieve success in the field you are looking at.
And actually, it is very practical story, sir. And actually, you are actually dedicated to a mission to create 1 million plus public speakers across the globe. And actually, you have given actually given a lot of speeches in over 18 plus countries. So, and apart from this, I'd like to make a request to the viewers who are watching that please go to his website, or actually on Flipkart or on Amazon, and get his books, because his book is very exceptional and full of practical insights on public speaking, and a lot of things you will get to learn. Sir, moving towards our next important question, which is what are your few tips which you would like to share to the students who wants to become a phenomenal leader in life? So what are the few tips which you would like to share, that does communication help, and what is the difference between communication and conversation? So few tips you would like to share.
See, for students, I would like to say that first of all, believe in the law of increasing returns. So it says that if you render more services than you are paid for, you
Mm,
will soon be paid more for the services you render. Which
mm,
means that if you are earning a salary of 100 rupees, for example, and if you have to do work, so don't do work of 100 rupees. Over deliver the work. Deliver work of worth of 150 or 200.
mm,
उसमें सक्सेस किसका होगा? उसमें सक्सेस आपका होगा. Why?
yeah,
Because you're working harder on yourself. If you work hard in your job, you'll make a career, you'll make a living. But if you will work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. And when you will start realizing this fact, law of increasing returns will change the way you are living your life. Always undercommit and over deliver. That's principle number one. Second, learn the art of reacting versus responding. So many students who are aggressive in their career, angry, short tempered, they lose the track very easily. So let me explain what is reaction versus respond.
mm,
Reaction means what comes from here, it reaches here.
right.
And respond means what comes here, it still stays here. You process it. If it's required, then it will come here.
Mm,
So this becomes a response. So reaction is immediately coming from brain to mouth, and response is roaming around in the brain, and you are thinking whether to use it or not right now. So you are holding your temptation, you're holding it so that you're not tempted out to reply it immediately. If you can
right.
learn this very small skill, you will save yourself from lot of failures, from lot of nonsense talks you do, and from unnecessary conversations.
Mm.
Third, you said about difference between conversation and communication.
Right.
Well, conversation has a lot of attributes of communication. So broadly, verbal and non-verbal. Verbal is more about how you speak with your mouth. Non-verbal is more about how you use your gestures,
Right.
how you use your body language,
Mm.
how you use your facial expressions, and how you use your eye contact.
Right.
And then your pace in the speed you're talking, and then your intonation, the
Mm.
kind of tone you're using.
Right.
So it is imperative to apply these attributes in your communication. Even if you are doing personal communication, I feel that you should not overdo anything, but
Mm.
you should definitely make it account that if somebody is meeting you, they should remember you for a very long time. And you can create that impact by using certain tools like storytelling. You can
Mm.
use your stories well. Second, take examples wherever necessary. And third, take references of people who are surrounded with.
Right.
And fourth, talk about latest insights. Be a reader, listen to podcasts, and you will see that if you will apply these small skills, you will sound like an intelligent conversationalist as well, which will
Mm.
eventually make you a very effective communicator.
Right. And sir, as you have actually mentioned that voice modulation plays a massive role in public speaking and communication plays. So what are the significant and crucial thing which are integral if somebody wants to be a phenomenal public speaker? Actually explain in very short things, and which are very integral, and without incorporating these approaches, no one can be actually a professional public speaker in your view.
First and foremost, you should have the clear structure of the talk. You should be
Mm.
clearly aware of what you're going to say.
Mm.
Second, you should be in the brevity. Speak specific.
Mm.
Specific is terrific.
Right.
And thirdly, you should know the message. What
Right.
message you want the audience to take from your talk. If you
Mm.
can apply these three things,
Mm.
you can become a world-class speaker.
Wow. And it has been seen in your speech as well. You are very specific. You convey a central theme in very simple words, and all the people in front of you get your advices or your insights. So sir, I'd like to know about your new book which you have actually writing or wrote, I don't know, but please tell us about that factor TEDx factor book.
Sure, if you can show that book on the screen also. So the
All
book
right.
is basically about my journey as a TEDx speaker.
Mm.
I have covered some deep insights about how any individual
Mm.
aspiring to become a TEDx speaker, and I've given the entire process of being a TEDx speaker in this book in a nutshell. Also, I spoke about how anyone can take benefit by becoming a TEDx speaker in his
Mm.
career. So, broadly, the book is more about giving some insights around the delivery of public speaking, the art
Mm.
of presentation, and of course, how somebody can associate with a platform like TEDx. So, it's a small, compact book, but with a lot of value.
Right, sir. And actually, I will add the link of all those books. And I guess you have written more than 10 books, right? So I will add all books link, and viewers should avail those all books which are very practical if somebody wants to be a phenomenal public speaker. Sir, I'd like to ask one important question because we are moving towards the end of podcast, which is, what are your advices for the people who wants to be a successful entrepreneurs, and what are the key important elements which an entrepreneur should have?
See, first and foremost, don't get disappointed if you face failure. Failure is a part of the process, and
Mm.
if you fail, you learn something. Just introspect what you have learned and keep that as a lesson, and keep adding those lessons, and you will see that in few years you'll become a fine human being and a
Mm.
great entrepreneur as well. Lesson number two is, if you work hard on anything, it's
Mm.
good, but you got to be persistent. You cannot just leave the entire zone that, okay, fine, things are tough, so I'm leaving. I don't have money, so I'm leaving. You got to be persistent. You need to
Mm.
create that quality and skill of being persistent. And
Mm.
number three is, in the entire journey of my entrepreneurship, I have learned that if you can learn to be humble and polite, these are extremely underrated but important key skills in entrepreneurship. Stay humble and you will never stumble in your life.
Right, sir. And actually, I asked you this because you are running a successful entrepreneur and actually firm called MS Talks, right? And it is a very successful public speaking stage which you have provided 60,000 plus professionals across the globe. And sir, I would like to know that what are your advices in regard of time management, because time management plays also a big role in public speaking.
Start prioritizing. I think if you will prioritize what is important, what is most important, what is urgent.
Right.
So prioritizing your task will eventually help you creating your own time management. Second, I always believe in reaching office early. So start your day early. If you will start your day early, you will have ample time to collaborate your thoughts
Mm.
and align your things well and delegate your task well. And third, if you have team, so learn to delegate that task. Don't do all the work on your own. Create leadership qualities, pass on the work, get the things done, delegate it well.
Wow, it is very incredible and very actually practical thing you have shared from your own experience. So it is the podcast, sir, and you have answered everything in very simple ways and which are practical, which are realistic, which are not theoretical. And thank you so much, sir, for taking out your precious time to be on the show. And lots of viewers will make the most of your advices you have shared, and I will add all those links in the description so that viewers can access your book, your workshop, your videos. And thank you, sir. And last question, which is, what are your advices for people who are not capable enough to manage their stress? Because stress is something which is very dominant in this time, right? So stress management. What are your insights?
See, stress comes from the state of when you are not confident, when you are less confident about certain things, and you start amalgamating those thoughts. You start relating to the thoughts which are not important in your life, and gradually you enter into a state of negativity, and
Right.
that's when you start creating more stress for your life. So my advice is that start doing small things. Create your work schedule in such a way that you schedule your work in small tasks. And lastly, be an avid reader. Keep
Mm.
working on your patterns, because at the end of the day, if your mind patterns are positive, nothing can stop you, not even the atmosphere around you. Even if it's not working your way, believe you me, one day it will work your way.
Right. So, sir, do you believe in destiny?
Yes, I do.
I was reading a book, and actually it was written that आपकी नियत ही नियति निर्धारित करती है. Your destiny, your decision decides your destiny. And you are committed to a mission to create 1 million plus public speakers. So how this idea crossed your mind, and why do you want to create 1 million plus public speaker? Everybody are very, I mean, curious to know that why.
See, I believe that if you're doing something, do big,
Mm,
and do it big and think big. So this idea came to me, and I started thinking till now, created more than 1 lakh public speakers across 23 plus countries. And now India has a lot of soft power which can be leveraged on global platforms. And
mm,
I believe that we Indians have more than 40% of the ready tech savvy English labor force ready with us. So
mm.
this can be utilized on global platforms. And if we can learn the art of public speaking, one public speaker in one house can make a huge difference. And
Right.
guess what? Every public speaker is a leader. And if we have
Right.
more leaders, we will have more people serving the country. And the leaders, more leaders to the nation, it will serve the country at large. And that's the whole thought behind it.
Incredible, sir. You are such an incredible personality. And to be honest, sir, जब मैंने आपका वीडियो फर्स्ट टाइम देखा था जो स्टॉक पे, I was literally get too much inspiration that if this guy can handle all those failures and be a successful person, be like an ideal, so why we cannot, right? So you are such an incredible person, sir. Thank you so much for taking out your time to be on the show. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure, Ronald. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.